Welcome to Live America podcast. Hatem is here with the great Andrew Heaton, author, comedian, political advisor, gym teacher, everything. And he is
Yep.
the host.
Man's man, ladies
Yeah,
man, man about town.
he is the host of the Political Orphanage, and it's one of the best shows that you have to. He's right in the middle, right? How would you describe your show?
Yeah, I'd say the political orphanage is for people that are really tired of the red team versus blue team ongoing cosmic slap fight. If you're somebody that reads books and you are surprised that other people can't be friends with folks they disagree with, you would feel at home on the political orphanage. It tends to be for thinky people that have a good sense of humor, that don't view politics as an existential battle with a cosmic nemesis. And so that's where I tend to go. And I add a lot of jokes and shit in because I'm a comedian.
So this is what, and the thing is, like, Andrew actually is that. You know how all everybody that get fired from CNN or Fox or whatever start their own network and said, "Hey, I'm in the middle." No, he's actually in the middle, doesn't have an agenda. That's why when there's big topics, I always like to have a conversation with you. And we just had a great conversation. We're gonna be doing a lot of work together,
Yeah.
it seems like
Yeah,
before this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I was resenting Hatem for dragging me out of my work to come do this today, but now I got something out of it. We haven't even started yet. So
yeah.
this is all going great.
Yeah. So good. So let's start talking about, first thing, the Super Bowl halftime show. You know, people are like, this is un-American. People are outraged either way. Like some people say it's crazy, can't believe this is happening. Actually, there was another Super Bowl halftime show with Kid Rock. So the country's kind of split, and this is what I don't like.
Oh,
Is like
you mean the alternate halftime show, like how they have like the presidential address, and then the out of party will do the alternate president, like they that bit,
it's
except
yeah,
for cowboy music.
it's insane. And the thing is, like, if we stay like this, eventually we're gonna have two Super Bowls going on at the same time. We're gonna have two announcers, we're gonna have two halftime show, we're gonna have two everything. It's like we are going into like division more than being united, and there's not one person that managed to bring us together. And I think people like it that way. So first of all, what's your thoughts? Why do you think that people were calling the show un-American, or I can't believe this is obviously you saw the Trump post and tweet. It's like nobody can understand shit this guy's saying. This is ridiculous and all that. What's your thoughts in general on that?
Yeah, a few things. So, uh, part I generally like limited government, Hatem. Like I think we should have one, but I want the government to be small and competent, like a scalpel. I want it to work well, but I don't want it to be too big. And part of the reason that I want that kind of government is so I don't have to think about this stupid political bullshit on a regular basis, particularly when it comes to football. I feel like the republic's not going well if the stuff that's entertainment has to get co-opted into these political slap fights. Like I'm very jealous of friends that live in countries where you have to think about who the president is. You'll talk to somebody from like Germany or Denmark or something and go, "Who's your president?" And they'll take a beat. And then they go, "Oh, Hans Luger," or whatever the fucking guy is that, won the lottery or whatever. But like that's a great sign when you don't have to think about it. I think when the average American's not thinking about politics on a regular basis, that means that the government's working pretty well and that we don't need to get wrapped up in it. So I don't like that the Super Bowl, like going back to Colin Kaepernick, I don't like when sports becomes a political franchise because I think as a guy that's not even into sports, I don't really like sports. I see incredible benefit to it. Aside from the joy people get out of it, I think it's very healthy for us to be able to come together in contexts outside of politics and remember that we love watching the Philadelphia Eagles fans throw batteries at Santa. And at the end of the day, isn't it about the fact that we can all come together as horrible degenerates in Philadelphia to throw batteries at Santa? It doesn't matter for Republicans or Democrats. That's a very healthy thing. It's very healthy to be an Oklahoma college game and you don't know if the people around you are Republicans or Democrats. I think that's good. I think in this instance that it's more of the fact that we have so many goddamn hacks in media that want to turn everything into a culture war, regardless of whether it's actually a culture war or not, because that's how they can be evocative and get clicks out of it and turn the whole thing into your neighbor's going to kill you with a pitchfork or whatever the thing is, right? So I think that's what's going on with it. I find the concept of an alternative halftime show ridiculous. I'm friends with Jeff Bauer, and he wrote in a post on Substack earlier today that literally every other show is an alternate to the Super Bowl. Like any other form of entertainment you watch is an alternate to the Super Bowl. It's not like there's like competing dynasties or something like that. You can just not. I didn't watch the half bowl, the Super Bowl halftime show. I showed up an hour late because I was having dinner with Jeff and just watched like about an hour of it where I mostly chatted with my friends. So no, I think that's all ridiculous. The other thing I'll add, and then I'll let you get your sense in, Hatem. I don't think America is monolithic. There is no America that is just one America. And we've always been that way. I'm from Oklahoma. I'm from the middle of the country. I'm from flat, boring, agricultural, more cows than people America. So I, in theory, am part of the Toby Keith cultural milieu. I feel more at home there, or at least I should, or something. I don't know. I've been gone a long time, right? But like that is a valid expression of American culture. New York City's been around longer than Oklahoma has, and it's also a valid form of American culture. They're very different. I love both of them. I love going to Oklahoma. That's where my family's from. I go there every Christmas. I go there on Thanksgiving. It's a great state. I really like it. I just visited New York City. It's why my voice is all squeaky, because I got some disease from my friend Asako. We didn't have sex. We just had dinner, and I got some kind of cold. But like these are different cultures. Neither one of them's more or less American. New England's different than the South. That's okay. America's always been a grab bag of different cultures. That's part of what makes us great. And then I'd add in Puerto Rico is something we conquered back during the Spanish-American War in whenever that was, 1920. And like that's been a part of America. Like they speak Spanish, but they're American. Puerto Ricans are American. And like if they want to leave, I'd let them. If they want to become a state, I'd let them. But we can't like fucking own their territory and then claim they're not American. That doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, again, for me, I feel like these things are the joy of sports was and is should be that you bring you to an entertainment and you watch an hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours, whatever, and you don't think about your political affiliation, you don't think about religion,
Yeah.
you don't think about anything. You just truly focus on the competition and entertainment part of it. And I feel like politicians want to do everything to constantly remind you that the other
Yeah.
side is bad. So you have to not enjoy this. And if you enjoy it, you have a problem. And if you don't enjoy it, then you have a problem. I think like any concert, if you want to watch Bad Bunny and you like him and you're like, oh, this is a great interesting. Like I'm kind of person that I go anywhere, I watch any show and I enjoy it because I
Yeah.
try this like there's some production and thoughts come into this and it's to represent something. The Super Bowl is not the national anthem. I understand if they didn't play the national anthem, it's like that would be un-American, but it's
Yeah.
it's songs,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the artist. So like
It's
what is
it's it's fine. And like they're like I don't like rap, but like if they did a rap at the Super Bowl, I probably wouldn't enjoy it, but I wouldn't be like, oh God, the urbanites are taking over. Like black Americans are a thing. It's fine. You can be black and like rap. You can be white and like rap. I'm white. I don't like rap, but like it's not a threat to me and my cultural identity. I also think that you're spot on in noting that this is something that politicians want to drum up. It's I wrote this whole book called Tribalism is Dumb about why everybody turned into assholes. What happened? And the premise to this is we are innately wired to be tribalistic. We're innately wired to form coalitions and live in groups of about 150 people. That seems to be what evolution built us for. And one of the problems that society constantly deals with is when you get past that barrier of 150 people, the glue is not as good. So when you're in a little town or a little camping trip, tribe, whatever, commune of 150 people, what we were designed for, everybody one-on-one. And so you're able to get things done. You're able to work with each other. But if we're going to be in kind of a meta tribe where you and I, we don't live in the same village, we speak different dialects, but we have the same king, and we both worship the hawk god. So we're okay. We can kind of like see how we're sort of kinsmen if you think about it in an abstract sense. That works, but it's not nearly as good as when you have those really tight connections. And one of the ways that you can shortcut getting those tight connections is by having an existential threat. So normally, if you want to bond with people, you want to form really tight, close interpersonal connections. You just got to spend a lot of time with them. That's how that works. But if we're all just, you're from the East Village and I'm from the West Village. We don't really know each other very well. We're out gathering berries and a tiger crests the hill. We immediately and instinctively will give each other full on kinship status. You have 100% trust for me while that threat is there. Hold my car keys, hold my spear, hold my toddler. We got to go deal with this tiger. Like, I'm not going to go through all the regular rickety rackety bullshit of getting to know you. You automatically get 100% from me until this threat is done. Politicians know this, and they know that they can get people into that state by making you afraid of an existential threat. And politicians would rather you be afraid and hateful and giving them power and money and attention and voting for them than you being calm and deliberative and arriving at conclusions rather than just blindly reacting to stuff. They don't generally want you in that state. They want you to be in a state of angry and fearful, and they want you to think in terms of existential threats. That way, you'll go into war mode and support whatever it is they're doing.
And they also want you to be in a status of like, it's because of the other side, you know. Everything is because of the other
Yeah.
side. It's about me. It's not. So it started a while ago when they first announced Bad Bunny is going to be, and everybody's like, oh, so this is about me. They try to trigger my. I was like, why? Even when Bad Bunny just won, album of the year, and it was the first album of the year, a winner that the whole album is Spanish, and people were like, oh, it's like it's called the album of the year, not the album in English of the year. It's just music. It's kind of like sports. It doesn't matter like who does what or where they're from or whatever. This is what it is. So it started with that, and they wanted to anything that the right or the left do, they want to like start hype it up to become a problem. It's like, oh, why did they choose Bad Bunny? You know what? This is to trigger us. This is against us. This is un-American. This is woke. This is it. No,
Yeah.
maybe it's just not. Maybe it is. Maybe that's why they chose him. I don't know the intention behind it, but at the end of the day, it's an artist that people love that have a lot of followers and just had a show. They said like, oh, this guy didn't say a word in English. Well, he doesn't speak English really, and even if he does, it's a performance. Again, I would be offended if there's no national anthem, if there's no flag, if there's all these are
Yeah.
there, all the American parts that we need in the sports is there. So what's the big deal?
Yeah, most culture war stuff is stupid bullshit designed for idiots. Not all of it. I'll engage in a little bit of it. There's some stuff I enjoy, but for the most part, it's for morons. So I used to work in cable television. I was a primetime TV writer, and one of the constrictions that's in that particular medium is you end up having to boil everything down to one of two options, and that's because of idiots. If there's a lot of idiots watching, and any large network's going to have to deal with this, nuance doesn't compute because morons can't comprehend that like we might be talking about three different economic systems and there might be four or five options, which is pretty common in life. A lot of the time, like if you're picking a city to live, it's not just Boston or New York. There's lots of different options. There's all sorts of different ways you can do things, but that only works for people that can comprehend it and kind of enjoy it. For people that are idiots, they can just understand us versus them. That's where they live. And so you end up having to boil everything down to that. And everything becomes everything needs to become blue or red coded, even if it's not. Like one of the dumbest things in the last several years is where like Bud Light became woke swill.
I
I was
know.
like, I already didn't like Bud Light because it's fucking terrible beer. Like I didn't need any help. I'm not drinking Bud Light. Like the last Bud Light I drank was like when I was, I don't know, 25. I'm a Coors man. If I'm going to drink shitty beer, I'm going to drink Coors. That's my light beer of choice if I'm drinking bad beer. All the other bad beer, fuck it. But like then it turned into like this existential transgender thing. And I was like, can it just be shitty beer? Do we
Yeah.
have to like, does the shitty beer have to have a political soul to it? I don't really think we need to get that worked up about it. But there too, in the media sphere, having worked in cable television, we never had the ability to go on the air on our daily program and go, hey, everybody, not a lot happened today. You should go hang out with your kids. Maybe turn off the TV, do a picnic, check back in tomorrow. We couldn't do that. So every day we'd go, oh, wow. Miley Cyrus rode a wrecking ball naked. People are really angry about that. We went on Twitter and found 3 people that were angry about this that no one else in America gives a shit about. So we're going to pretend that there's this big controversy. That way we can get everybody to don't quit watching. You have to keep watching. They always got to make you keep watching stuff, which means they have to invent bullshit all the time.
And why can't you just enjoy it? Enjoy whatever it is. The main event is the game, you know. the actual, sport that, and as I said, like enjoy what's going on. He didn't have to have like a political message behind it. And even if he did, that's his own thing. That's his show. It's his, it's crazy. All right. So we'll talk also about the commercial. But before that, you mentioned Colin Kaepernick. It's been a while, but what's your thoughts in general in kneeling to the flag during the national
Uh,
anthem?
I'm not offended by it. I
Yeah.
know people that are offended by it. Like there are members of my family that it viscerally offensive to them. They view it as profane. They view it as an irreligious act, as if you were trampling the cross or putting an image of Muhammad or something like that. So it's sort of like a blasphemy to civic religion. I don't feel that way, but I also have a pretty good gag reflex. Like I don't tend to get that offended by stuff. No, the bit that pisses me off is just like, can we just leave sports apolitical? Like
Yeah.
I think that we've got politics is plenty front and center in America right now. Everybody that wants to argue with shitheads on Twitter is welcome to do it. Everybody has bumper stickers and yard signs. We're all ruining Thanksgiving already. Let's just have a few things where we agree to not be political in it. That was the part that pissed me off.
For me, when I don't like kneeling to the flag. I don't think that's the right thing to do. The way I analyze is like, okay, let me see what is the cause, when, where, and how you're protesting. So the cause obviously
Mm.
is racial, so I agree with the cause 100%. When you want to do it, you want to do it during the Super Bowl or any football game. That's great because there's a lot of attention. How are you going to do it? You want to kneel. Okay, great. When? During the national anthem. That part I don't agree with. Why don't you do it before they start the game? Why don't you do that's what soccer do it now, is before you start the game,
Yeah.
you kneel. Like why do you have because it's also the country that did a lot of bad things in your opinion. Also, there are a lot of great things. It's giving you that chance to do that. And this is something that I feel like a lot of Americans don't appreciate is like having not grown up here, the rest of the world, there's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad. But I think, yeah, the kneeling is great, during the game is great, just not during that. But
Yeah,
so
I'm not as bothered by it. Like I kind of my undergraduate degree was in religious studies, and
yeah,
I think most people are religious, including atheists. Like I think this the same part of your brain that is able to comprehend currency and women's rights and democracy is the same part of your brain that understands God and religion. Like I don't think you have one without the other in
yeah,
99% of the cases. So like I look at like I think there's a civic religion in America where we have hymns that we sing. God bless America, the Star Spangled Banner. We have sacred objects that cannot be profaned, like the flag. You can't let the flag touch the ground. If somebody burns the flag, that's a profane act. People are constantly trying to ban it because it's a profanity on a cosmic level. I don't have a problem with any of that. It's just being actually fairly secular. I'm not really offended by people being profane, and I think that's at root what it is.
yeah. I think
I
it's just
wouldn't
like
have a problem if it were like if we were in the 60s, like in the Jim Crow South, and black people did that to raise awareness of Jim Crow, like again, I'd probably feel the same way and be like, this is really important. I agree with you, but can we just not do it during football? But the actual act of kneeling wouldn't offend me. And I'd go like, well, you got a good point there.
yeah.
So
I mean, you can do it during football. Just to me, not during the net. Why'd you have to? Trigger people because this is the exact flag that people fought for, people
yeah.
died for, people. So it's just like you can do it. And why are you triggering people and taking them away from even supporting your cause because you're doing something that,
I agree with you there. I don't think it's a good strategy. Like I think when we get into America doing bad stuff, obviously there's been horrible things that have happened in American history. I don't think anybody contests that. The real question is on net, do you think America's mostly good with racist exceptions? Or do you think it's mostly racist with a handful of enlightened people? I'm very strongly on the side of America's mostly not racist. America's mostly
yeah.
good. There
Uh,
are racist bits to it. For the people that think America's fundamentally bad, it's not a good rallying cry. Most people like their country regardless of where they live. Most people like America. Like one of the reasons that Martin Luther King Jr. was so successful was he wasn't repudiating the American experiment. He was asking for enfranchisement. He never came in and said the Declaration of Independence is bullshit. The Constitution's a bag of shitty lies. Our country's fucking awful and we should get rid of it. No, he went, this is great. The Declaration
Well,
of Independence is great. The Constitution is great. We want this. Let us in America.
well,
Like that
also,
was a
also
really
let's
good message.
let's be fair. Martin Luther King, obviously, I like him, but I think if he lived during Trump, maybe he would have talked differently.
Maybe so.
Trump can push anybody's buttons. Imagine Martin
Yeah,
Luther King is like, you know
fair.
what?
97-year-old. I would love to see 97-year-old Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah,
reacting to Trump. Yeah.
it's crazy. But again, I think it's people that see maybe the flag representing the bad. Why don't you think of it representing the good? And also, I don't want to be like, okay, this is everybody's like, oh, America, like especially with the immigration thing, is like, oh, we don't want any. America's built on immigration, so why is every generation coming want to like says, oh,
Yeah.
now it's
I
bad,
gotta
now
say
it's bad.
that's stupid bullshit. I've been arguing with Republicans here in the district about this. Uh, One of the smartest things we could do is steal smart people from other countries. I am all in favor of brain drain. Like if you're intelligent, you might be the kind of person to start a company. I would much rather you be in Silicon Valley than in London or in
And even those
Dubai
who
or
like work very hard, like it's not only
yeah,
the geniuses, it's like the one that willing to put the work is like, it's insane. So if we stay in that topic now, there's in the Olympics, there's one of the Team USA member. They said, it's very hard time to represent the US right now. I don't agree with the politics. So it's very hard. And Trump called him obviously a loser, which he
uh,
calls everybody.
yeah,
To me, I think, when again, same thing with the flag. Yeah, you disagree with a lot of things, but you're representing Team USA. So you represent what you think the US is. So to me, I represent USA before. So for me, it's the good things. It's the great things that the US stands for.
yeah,
So that's why I'm proud of. So if I'm part of Team USA, that's because I want to represent everything good, not everything bad. For him to say stuff like that, I feel it's also weird. It's like, then why did you come in to begin with?
yeah. Well,
Why are you
because
part?
obviously they're not going to turn it down. The other thing too, and I say so. I'd say broadly speaking, I'm a classical liberal, and classical liberalism attempted to and is still fighting all of the old world dark age feudal bullshit that it came out of and released the world from, but it never went away. So one of the new ways of looking at society that classical liberalism unlocked, and I'm heir to this, is society is this big, messy, organic Jackson Pollock painting, and the government is one of the blobs on it. And they're all interacting with each other. There's lots of blobs. There's school and family and church and work and local government and national government. Not saying government's not important, but it's a subset of society. It's a component of society. The older peasant mentality is thinking of society as a pyramid with a government on top. And it is the apex of society. If you have that peasant thinking, then you're forever going to be really angry when your guy's not in charge or you have a policy that rubs you the wrong way. I'm very pro-immigrant. I don't disagree with the political take of anybody on the Olympics, but for me, I can perfectly represent and like America and dislike the government because they're not the same thing. The government's a
Exactly.
subset of American society. It's not the apex of it.
Exactly. That's why, like, when you play for Team USA, it's an honor. It's a dream for a lot of people, and it's an honor to represent your country. And you're representing the good things. You're representing you're not representing the politics. You're not representing the current president, whoever, if you like him or don't. So for me, it's like, why would you again say stuff like that? You can actually use your platform and not say like, hey, I'm in Team USA, it's really hard to be here. I don't agree with all the politics. It actually should be the opposite. It should be, you know what, I am here because America is not what you see in right now, the things that I disagree with. It's actually more than that, and that's why I'm
Yeah.
proud to represent USA. So
100%. And like also like the I mean, like to get really semantic here, the president isn't the leader of America. He's the head of the government.
yeah.
Like the president's not like orchestrating comedy shows or telling people who they should marry on match.com or anything like that. Like society's this big, messy, emergent body that we're all part of, and government's a part of it, but it's not the same thing as like the head of the entire country. And one of the reasons we have this red team, blue team fight club stuff going on is that everybody's sort of began thinking of American politics as who sits the Iron Throne. Westeros just doesn't make any sense unless a Targaryen is on the throne. I can't even live in Westeros
Yeah.
unless a Targaryen sits the throne. Whoever sits the throne is probably going to be an asshole. You're going to agree with them or you're not going to agree with them, but it's not the same thing as like some sort of pontifex leading the church.
Yeah. I think they need to make everything about your point of view and where you're standing, regardless where you are, and try to make a political point. Obviously, there's a lot going on that's bad in the world and bad right here in the US right now, and we all offended and we want to do something about it, but do something about it. Not just like use a platform and be like, question. No, it's, if you're against something, say I'm against something. Say, use your platform to do it, but don't talk about the whole system that's because there's a lot of good. So if that was like 4 years ago, now it's okay for you to represent Team USA. Again, you're representing the good, not just the bad.
Hey,
This is
do
what
I always have to be mildly uncomfortable as an independent? I just always am like, sorry, I don't like whoever the regime is ever,
I,
but I really wanted to play bocce ball here in Milan.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And the thing is, like, remember if it's imagine if this was like a Miracle in Ice game, the US versus USSR, Russia, like that, where it was like boom,
Yeah.
it's like at that point, you didn't play for the politics. And the war back then was even worse. You didn't play for what your government represent. You played for your country and you killed yourself for that was a great game in hockey. Just because everybody really take this is what America is and this is what Russia is, and that's what sports is supposed to be. Yes, of course, use your platform to point the suffering of the people, but don't say I don't want to be here representing this because it's represent. No, it's actually you here because you are the good person and say this is what I disagree with. I disagree with this policy, not just like I'm not comfortable being here.
Yeah, no, I think it's very easy to compartmentalize these things. I spent a
What
lot of time in Scotland. I spent a lot of time in the United Kingdom. I'm very capable of articulating my myriad problems with the Trump administration while not being embarrassed by America. I don't believe in collective guilt. I don't think that I am somehow on the hook for Trump or that he's going to personally embarrass me. He's like, look, I don't like the guy either. I've taken a lot of career swings at him that have resulted in the loss of several $100,000 because I ended up getting fired. I left the job. I don't like the guy. I've made my stand on this guy. It's not the same thing as like my neighbor in Oklahoma who like works at the soup kitchen. Like they're not like these are separate. We're not all part of one big collective guilt. There's again, we're a big organic aggregated society that's an emergent messy structure, and that's good.
And you guys rookies at that because for me being Middle Eastern or being Muslim, so it's like all this is like you can be like, you know, I am Muslim, but I'm really, not happy with what's going on right now. No, they don't represent us,
Yeah.
same thing with Middle East. So that's why, you have to take what's really you stand for. Me being, I think I am, me personally, I think I'm a lot what America is. You come in here and that's why I'm proud to be American. It's like, you work hard, you get what you get, you have all the things that, and everything is equal. You're first generation immigrant, all these things, so there's a lot good to it. But, of course, there's a lot of bad, and I would face it directly. I would say I don't like what ICE is doing to that individual. And Chris Rock have this great joke, is like, which to me, it's very smart. Back to our conversation before when we were talking about like smart jokes and stuff like that. It's like I think anybody he says this is his joke. He's like uh if everybody I think Republicans are idiot, Democrats are idiot, conservative are idiot, everybody's idiot. If you make up your mind before you hear the issue, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You're supposed to, crime, I'm conservative, prostitution, I'm liver. That's his joke. So this is what I feel is like, not there's not one person. Take anybody in the world, Obama, Reagan, Clinton, Biden, Trump. Not one person did everything wrong or everything right.
Yeah.
The majority or majority. It's the way. It's just we're not used to the representation. So which take us now to the Grammys. Billie Eilish when she said "stolen land." What's your take on that?
What a dipshit. First of all, when I looked through photographs, that was of the Oscars. No, that was of the Grammys, right?
Grammys, yeah.
I guess it was the Grammys. Then I was looking through the costumes on the Grammys and I was like, all of these look like what the people in Panam taunt the peasants with in District 6? Like where they have those like crazy outfits. I'm like, are they intentionally trying to do that? They look nuts. No, that's stupid. Again, so okay. Yay, Native Americans. I'm from Oklahoma. Yay, immigrants. Love immigrants. Date a surprising amount of immigrants, right? There's two phenomena that are really irritating about this. The first is that the phrase itself is vacuous and has no meaning. It's a bumper sticker aphorism that doesn't mean anything. The phrase that Billie Eilish said when she won her Grammy was, "There can be no illegal people on stolen land." Well, that's stupid bullshit. Does that mean that if you come into my house and I ask you to leave, that I have no legal standing to make you leave my home because the land is the property of the Otopatok Indians that was stolen 200? No, that's clearly crazy. Like trespassing is still a crime. You're gonna have like you're allowed to say who can't go in where based on private property. You can extend that to national boundaries as well, of saying, look, the person is illegal. They illegally entered the country. If you really want to get into a crazy semantic argument with me, I'm happy to call them national trespassers if you want, instead of illegal immigrants. I'm not going to call them undocumented immigrants because I feel like that's you're trying to reframe. I'm already pro-immigrant. Like I want to double the amount of immigrants coming in. I'm not going to let you like Orwell my language because you've got some weird mind game you've figured out where you can get people onto the area you want by using terms you prefer. I'm not going to play that. I'll call them national trespassers if you want. Again, like would come up with ways for people that are currently nationally trespassing to stay here. Maybe they pay a fee for amnesty. Maybe, you know, like there are ways to do this that are humane and keep the economy rolling. Step one, let in a lot more people. But no, I thought the phrase itself was vacuous. The other bit is like celebrities need to shut up if they don't know what they're talking about. There's this weird impulse that we have as a people and that celebrities have as a species, where we as a people seem to think that celebrities all have some kind of really unique insight. They don't. There's no reason that a musician would have more knowledge of immigration than a guy that owns a gravel company. There's no reason that an act like Tom Hanks might be a great guy. Maybe he reads a bunch of books. I got no idea. I just know he's an actor, right? There's no inherent reason that Tom Hanks understands tax policy better than your high school teacher does. Your high school teacher probably understands tax policy better than the average actor. So this weird thing we do where because we like these people and we see them on camera, we assume that they have some kind of insight, which is nonsense. And then on the flip side of the coin, there's this tendency they have to just want to make morally pure status grabs. There's a great book called The Status Game by Will Storr. I interviewed him on the Political Orphanage about 4 years ago. And according to him, and I am sold on this thesis, as primates, as apes, we are constantly trying to maintain or increase our status within any group of people, and it never goes away and it never turns off. So somebody listening to your show, Hatem, right now probably thought, well, I don't do that. Well, that's a status grab. That's I am more morally pure than this guy talking about status. Meanwhile, I'm wearing this ridiculous hunting blazer as if I'm off on the moors looking for grouse. On some level, I'm doing that to communicate to people I'm a prestigious person that can afford blazers, and I'm the kind of guy that kills grouse, whatever, right? And then there's people that dominate. There's bullying people. That's the other way. But that's pretty much it. There's prestige or success, domination or bullying, and moral prestige. Or excuse me, moral purity. Moral purity would be the third one. And they all have a role in society. There's a reason that they're wired into us. But I got to say, with the moral purity one, that one tends to be the lazy option that doesn't involve doing anything. If you actually want to tell what people give a shit about, look at their credit card statement, look at their calendar. That's what people care about. What are they spending their time and their money on? That's the actual thing they care about. Words are really cheap. And there's this impulse that celebrities have to come out and say the words that makes everybody clap like trained seals. And as somebody that would like to have comprehensive immigration reform and get more immigrants into the country, the worst thing for me is to have dipshit celebrities say stupid things that the Republicans can use as talking points come the midterms. So Billie Eilish should be quiet.
Yeah, I feel like, again, back to the point with the Team USA and same thing. I think there is it's great that you have this power of, spreading a word or bringing attention to a cause or make a point, make people don't forget. If we talk about the world in general, there's blood in everybody's hands, everyone. There's a lot of wars and a lot of things. And I think if you have, I agree with you that celebrities don't know a lot of things. They just want to sound in a certain way, or if you care about this cause, let's say I care about organ transplant plantation, right? This is my thing. So what do? I want to increase awareness. I want to make sure, but if you care about the stolen land, if you care about the Indian, what have you done, to do it? Uh, Agree with it or not agree with it, I prefer the way that Marlon Brando did, bring somebody who actually knows about it. Remember that in the Oscars when he had what's her name,
The
Indian,
Native American lady. Yeah.
yeah, get his Oscar. I mean, that's a great way
Well, and
because she
that's a hell of a play too, because then you don't get the spotlight for 30 seconds, which is something that a celebrity is not likely to do.
exactly. But that's what you shows you somebody really cares about it. So you given your spotlight, people coming here to watch you, want to see what you're gonna say, and you give it to somebody who knows, just like you said, high school teacher knows more. Get somebody who, if that's really the cause that you care about, uh, then bring the attention and the solution to what you say. But just saying big words is not helping anybody. And again, I know that because I suffer from a lot of things when you have Islamophobia or all this. And people's like, no, we shouldn't, we shouldn't be, yeah, you shouldn't be Islamophobic. What did you done? What have you done to do anything about it? It's like
Or
I
just
rather
know what the fuck you're talking about is
yeah, and
another
I
thing
rather
too.
you do something about it and be like, bringing attention to somebody, bring somebody who knows what's the solution and what are you doing right now? What can we do? Like, okay, there's no, first of all, you make people hate, immigration even more, when you say a statement like this, because you're mixing it with another problem, obviously, Native Americans have a lot of rights. Okay, so let's focus on that, or let's focus on immigration. Which one is it? What are you offering? But when you just say stuff general and just confuse the world more because everybody's just gonna clap and do nothing, and then you're gonna take a gram and go to the after party, and do whatever you do. Like, what have you done to do something? This is what you want to do. Like, that's why, like, somebody like Mark Ruffalo is like, he's in protest. He goes. He's involved. Like Robert De Niro, like Champagne. These celebrities actually the first to see them there. But go and protest there. Get your money. You have money. You have
Yeah.
outlet that people talk to. Bring them and let them have a conversation.
I'll give them credit if they're spending time and money on the causes that they care about.
Exactly.
But
Not
I'll also
raising
put
money,
in,
your own money.
yeah, I'll give them credit, but also just like know what you're talking about. Like I think that there's a lot of celebrities that just kind of say bumper stickers and then everybody claps for them and they don't really like. There are no illegal persons on stolen land is stupid. I'm sorry, like I'm sorry. It sounds good, but it doesn't mean anything. So like I don't know. If you wanted to get up there and like say something coherent, maybe good. I'd probably go. I don't think you really need to be doing it anyway because you're talking to a room full of people that agree with you that are going to broadcast on outlets that already like I don't. You're just doing it so that everybody applauds you. Like
And
I
again,
don't
it,
know.
it takes me back to the point with Colin Kaepernick. Like, do I agree with the cause? Yes. Do I agree with where you saying it? Yes. But how you saying it is wrong. Don't kneel during the flag. This is bringing a problem to a great cause. You're there. You want to say something about it. You have 30 seconds or a minute or whatever. Bring somebody like, what Marlon Brando did and have them get the spotlight from you or use your own money to do shit or use your own platform or how about do a song about it?
Yeah.
Like all these things, like,
Actually, that'd
it's,
be great. The '60s had really good protest songs. I would love it if we had
yeah.
like awesome protest songs in
But
the
it's never gonna
'20s
happen.
now.
Yeah, it's never gonna happen because studios are not gonna buy it. They're not gonna support your album. So now it's your own money that you're fighting. So if you're real, go for it. So not to take it away from her, maybe she's a great person and really cares, but it's also too young. So I think the advice is like if you care about the cause, think about this. After I do what I do, how much did I help these people? So. All right, let's talk about the files of Epstein that you were in. Why were you in the files,
Shit.
Andrew?
All right, listen, Hatem, listen. If a comedian is invited to do stand up on an island, you don't ask questions.
True,
I
true.
didn't diddle anybody while I was there. I didn't even hit on anybody while I was there. I just told some jokes about beaches. A beach is a desert with a hole at the end. Why are we even? It's just a bunch of dead fish. Like I just told beach jokes. Later, I found out that Jeffrey Epstein was diddling children. I didn't know that at the time.
That's
So,
crazy.
like I'm just saying the fact that I'm in the Epstein files doesn't mean I did anything wrong. All I did was comedy. I served the goddess Thalia.
Yeah, with Clinton, right? So
Yeah, no,
what?
I had to get bunk beds with Dershowitz, who saws like a fucking chainsaw. Excuse me, he snores like a chainsaw, and he was really an unpleasant roommate. I don't know why we had to share bunk beds, but yeah, that was who I bunked with.
So what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on the Epstein saga part, whatever part we're in right now? You
Part
know,
46.
so there's
Could you?
more. Um, First, what surprised you the most about Hello Doggy?
It's
What's sur
Wallace.
Hi Wallace. What surprised you the most about the new finding in Epstein file?
So the questions pertaining to the most recent tranche of
Correct.
undisclosed documents that we're going through. Um, I think probably the most surprising thing is just how many people stuck by him as long as they did while publicly distancing themselves. So you had like Paul Mandelson, the most recent Lord. He got his lordship taken away. Which let me tell you, friend, British people that want lordships, the worst thing you could do to them in life would like it'd be better to kill one of their children than to yank a lordship from one of those like really status driven Brits. He got his lordship yanked, and he was ambassador in America. He no longer is. There might be legal action. Um, he and a bunch of other people all kind of did this thing where they went, I was friends with Jeffrey Epstein. I didn't know him very well. And then when I found out that he was a bad dude, I cut off all ties. It turns out a lot of these people didn't do that. That they were actually writing him these nice emails saying, it's horrible what they've done to you. You're a great guy. We're all in this together, all that kind of thing. The funniest one by far was Elon Musk, in my opinion. Elon Musk, Epstein, two things that I saw in there. Musk emailed him on Christmas Day and was like, I really need to blow off some steam at a party. And I'm like, at Christmas? Like December 25th? This is like, you want to go to St. Bart's to like, maybe fuck a cheerleader like that? Like, that's where your head's at on Christmas? But then later or earlier, I don't know what it was. Epstein emailed him and he's like, hey, and horrible grammar and language. Like, what more reason not to like Epstein? He couldn't put a sentence together in terms of typing, but he wrote him an email that's like, "Hey, you should come to New York. I'm throwing a party and I'm going to have some really interesting people. What with the United Nations convocation going on?" And Elon Musk wrote back, given all the crazy stuff I'm doing with AI and SpaceX, it's just not worth my time to talk to bureaucrats. Then Epstein responded, I quote, I'm not retarded. They're all people under 25 and very cute. Like that was a funny exchange. Um, in terms of like people getting implicated for things, I don't really think anybody's going to get implicated in any of this. I think what's going to happen is you're going to get a lot of Larry Summers type people and Noam Chomsky type people and Alan Dershowitz and Bill Clinton and everybody else where there's going to be an asterisk on them for the rest of their lives of were they screwing underage girls? But I don't. I doubt there's going to be anything that criminalizes anybody. Not because we shouldn't go after criminals, but because you have to have due process and you have to have more than a hunch. You have to have evidence. You have to have beyond a reasonable doubt. And so, if a guy went to the island, that's like could be skeezy, probably skeezy, maybe like I don't know. Like it's I don't think you're going to see a lot of people fall for it, but you might see some people like get ousted from polite society. I think Larry Summers is an example of that, where he stepped down from Harvard.
So a few things. One is in England, it seems like the people in Epstein files are getting more punished and more um, kind of,
Yeah,
reaction than in
yeah.
the US. Like the lawyer, that step in that the other,
Paul Mandelson, yeah, got yanked, and
yeah,
then there are people calling on Keir Starmer to resign. And like, I'm
and
not a Labor
and
guy, but even I'm like, I don't think it's sufficient to bring down a premier.
And not only, I mean, it seems like he is also exchanging some information. So that some are calling for a criminal, prosecution. But the point is, my first question, I guess, is like, why is it there is more immediate reaction in England, but not in the US? Even in terms of like, we're not talking about prosecution, we're not talking about criminal anything. We're talking about actually, taking titles or, so
Yeah.
like, why is this not happening here?
That's a really good point. I don't know. I mean, like the only one that I can think of in England is Paul Mandelson. There might be other people, but I'm unaware of
I
them.
mean, Prince Andrew,
Oh yeah, I'm saying yeah, he's a big one, isn't he? Yeah, my bad. Yeah, Prince Andrew's a big one. He got his title yanked. He's now
and
merely Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He's just a regular bloke like you and me, Hatem.
yeah, and
Um,
I mean, with that picture too. I mean, seriously, what the?
I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is. Let's brainstorm. It could be that in England they still have stronger social norms and that violating those norms have consequences. It could be that our elite are just more insulated in general. It might also just be the titles. I mean, now that I think about it, the artist formerly known as Prince Andrew, I don't think is looking at jail time. What he had was his fancy hoity-toity title yanked away, and I think that they've also closed some of his businesses. But that's all basically been the purview of the
But
royal
it is
family.
something. And
Yeah,
also, there's nothing proven against him yet. Obviously, we all know, but there's more info, and I'm sure that the redacted information implements him. But he's probably. But the point is, like, people are making a stand and saying, you know what, this is bullshit. We're not gonna take this. Do you think for any reason that maybe because the elite is close with the government? And I'm not talking about this government,
uh-huh.
Trump, because it's also close to the last government, the Democrat and Republican both, because they have a lot to lose in this game. There's so many that friends with everybody, either Trump or either Clinton. Because if you think about the Epstein files were there for 4 years with Biden and Obama before that and wasn't
Yeah.
released or wasn't, so if there's something that implicate the Republicans, they would have released it. And if something here implicates just the Democrat, release. And what I found interesting is the Clintons have agreed to testify in front of the Congress with one condition, have to be an open testimony. And I feel that is a warning. They tell like, you want us?
What does that mean? What is an open testimony?
Open for public. Everybody can hear what they're going to say. So
Okay.
it's not under closed doors, So which that's what they want. And they said no. Because basically what they're saying is
Oh
like if we
yeah,
talk, we're gonna talk.
yeah, yeah.
So it's very interesting to me. Now, isn't it surprising that Elon Musk is trying to get somebody to blow some steam? I mean, if I have $500 extra one week, I'll be like, I know exactly what I'm doing to blow some steam. And
Yeah,
this guy,
he's a weirdo. I mean, just I mean, like all things aside, there's a lot of bad things about Elon Musk. He's also a very smart, very successful entrepreneur. There's some good things as well, but I think like based on my read on Elon Musk, he's a very awkward, deeply not funny or likable guy who desperately wants to be cool and funny. Like when you read his tweets and things, he's trying to be funny. He so rarely is. So like I could totally see a guy like that not having like having billions of dollars and not having the wherewithal to like do anything other than like DM women to impregnate on Twitter. That computes for me.
yeah.
Like if I had an extra 15 million sitting around, I don't know that I would hire hookers. I've not done it yet, and I suppose I'm in an income range where I could be going to ladies of the night, just not as frequently. I don't think I would. But if I really needed to blow off steam, maybe I'd hire a bunch of escorts and we play Settlers of Catan. That could be fun. I don't know. I feel like I'd come up with some fun things. I'd throw a really fun party. I would like go to New York, get a limousine, call you. We get a bottle of champagne. We'd have the escorts play super fight with us. Then like we'd all have a good time, right? That could happen.
And I
In
tell you
terms,
honestly, like I've been in places in parties where I like when I go out and like, with some friends and, we want to have a great time. And just when you spend money and you get a table, you get bottles and you're gonna have fun. You don't, it doesn't have to be escort. It's just like people gonna come to you. You are a
I've had
celebrity.
fun many times without any escorts at all.
Yeah.
I've done it at
So
least a
so
dozen
so he
times
doesn't
now.
have to do that. But the thing is like back to your point where he's like he's very successful, he's very smart. I think and this is a main thing is like I think a lot of people like eh, uh Steve Hawkins or him or Andrew, all these guys. It's like, okay, there's one thing to be successful and to be genius and to be brilliant and to do all this and to be a good person,
Yeah.
and have morals. And I think this is the problem. It's like, okay, so he's done a lot to humankind and stuff like that, sure, but why shouldn't he be treated as any pedophile if he was, you know? So I mean,
If yeah, no, if he's a pedophile, he should be prosecuted 100%.
but this is the
Back,
thing, is like you have all these victims, the ladies, the women, uh, and not only, by the way, the underage one. There's a lot of underage also, but there's also a lot that weren't underage. So why you don't do a full, uh, you know, uh, investigation? Do you
well,
remember?
that one's easy enough. I mean, like if you have a 23-year-old that's sleeping with these guys, if I mean, you could prosecute them potentially for trafficking if they were being paid to do it, but the age of consent is not a problem. So we might find that gross or sleazy or whatever, but there's no, like, for those people, unless there's a lack of consent that was built into it, the highest charge you're going to get is soliciting. But it's not pedophilia.
But something,
With the
get
I'd
something.
argue, I mean, if somebody's sleeping with girls in their 20s, you may not like that, but there's nothing illegal about it. So there's really no recourse for law as far as that goes.
Actually, human trafficking. I had a guest, the other day in the podcast, and he says, like, he's a lawyer, and he's like, if you travel, it's the Mann Act. If you travel
Yeah.
with the intent of so he's still. But the
Yes.
point
If
is,
you're paying for it, all that, then yes, there's some stuff there.
yeah. So
But
so
like,
the point is, like, you cannot get away with stuff because you're elite. You know?
sure, and you shouldn't be able to. No, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
That is
So
kind of where like I think this gets fishy. So
unless if you and I are elite, then I think they should get away with stuff.
I gotta say, I think I'd be like I don't know. Occasionally, I'll hear about some weird sex act, and I'm like, I'm just not tired of missionary yet. Like, I'm
Yeah.
42, and I'm still enthralled. If a woman gets naked, I don't need to really have that other bit. Like, I don't need that rope over there. I don't need that, right? So I feel like if I were elite Hatem, I think I would be able to maintain my perversion within a more or less medium bell curve distribution of scandal that would not erupt to the point of being prosecuted. I think I can stand by that. But
It's just I
insofar
feel
as
like this Epstein thing is so corrupt, that there's so many victims that's not gonna get justice because they just not. And honestly, even if they're young girls, and even if they say yes and they were like okay with all that shit, just the fact that you grooming them into this, not knowing, using all the, it's so bad, and it's so many people are involved in it. There's a lot of, more and more, it's not even conspiracy theories anymore, that there's a lot of, you know, agencies are involved in this, in the
yeah.
underworld and stuff like that, try to get information, which is always what we learn from James Bond movies, is that's how they do it. But it just like cannot, I don't understand why you don't get like few people that you trust and let them get the file and they can redact
So
whatever they want
so
to redact.
there's two different ways we can look at this, and I'm not settled on it for the record. I started paying attention to the Epstein files back when I was working in television, before they were nationally well known. They'd been broken by the Miami Herald, which did a bang up job on that, but they hadn't really hit big, big national headlines yet. And at the time, this is before Epstein was prosecuted. This was when he was still floating around as a garden variety billionaire pervert living in Miami or wherever he was in Florida, right? So at that point in time, the odd thing before he was prosecuted for what ultimately did him in, the odd thing was he had an incredibly light sentence where he was prosecuted for soliciting an underage woman, right? So all the shit he did, just first instance of it, and his sentence was incredibly light. His sentence was ultimately that he would do, like, I don't know, 3 years of, I'm not an
He was in
attorney,
home.
like pseudo, yeah, he had to go to jail during the day, but he commuted, so he'd literally drive to work, he'd drive to his prison sentence where he was allowed to work on a laptop and do everything he needed to do. Then he'd drive home at night, and he didn't go there on weekends. The lightest prison sentence you can imagine, right? Now, so that's fishy thing number one. And the guy that was prosecuting him, I forget his name now, ended up becoming like labor secretary
Yeah.
under Obama, I want to say. Now, the flip side to that we can say is, you and I are the prosecutors in this particular case. We know he's a bad dude. We know he's soliciting minors. He's doing prostitution, and he's a pedophile. He should be behind bars. We know this. We want to get him behind bars. As the court case is going on, the women that are involved in this start turning, and they start saying like, no, nothing bad happened. We love him. He's a great guy. He would invite us over. We never did anything illegal when we were under 18. He never did anything bad. We were not going to witness against him. We're not going to offer testimony against him. So the good faith argument would be that the prosecutors that were involved in that case basically looked at their collapsing stable of testimony and went, the best we're going to get is this really soft deal, but at least we can get it on the record that he's a pedophile, and we can give some amount of justice, and we can give people a heads up. I don't know where the reality lies on that, but that would be the flip side. Now, I'm going to add to that. The other part of this that I started paying attention to is this all broke right before the 2016 election, at least at the national level. And one of the things that I did think was really bizarre about the 2016 election is that nobody was talking about this in the Trump or Clinton camp. That was a very weird omission. So the third debate that Donald Trump did with Hillary Clinton, he invited Juanita Broaddrick and I think Jennifer Flowers to the debate as his guests. Juanita Broaddrick, for anybody unfamiliar with it, has said for years that Bill Clinton raped her when he was the Attorney General for Arkansas. So going way back before he was president, she was saying this man is a rapist. He raped me, and she's been, so far as I know, been consistent with that story. So Trump invites them in order to rattle the Clintons, and specifically Bill Clinton, who can see them, and yet Trump never mentions Epstein, which I find very weird because at this time it was public knowledge that Clinton had been involved with Epstein. Unless this has been revised based on the data I had from 10 years ago, maybe the Epstein files have changed this. But at the time, what we knew was that Bill Clinton had gone on Epstein's plane multiple times. We don't know to where. And he had sent his Secret Service detail home to spend time with their families. That's what we know for sure. It is probable that he was on the plane in order to go to Epstein's island, where it's also probable that he had sex with somebody because he sent the secret security detail home, right? So that's inference. We know that he got on the plane multiple times. He's in the flight log. We know that he sent his Secret Service detail home. We don't know with Trump anything beyond they communicated a lot. At the time when those files were released, Trump's at least two of his numbers, I think three of his numbers, like cell phone, home phone, something else, were in Epstein's phone in his Rolodex. So he had contact with Trump. We now know that Trump sent him some weird fucking pubic hair poem thing for his birthday. So they seem to know each other. We don't have any further trail of evidence that I've seen that Trump had gone to the island or that he'd solicited girls from Epstein. Maybe that's changed with this most recent tranche of data. I don't think so. Either way, I found that very interesting back in 2016 because you could like clear if you're the kind of guy that's going to say Ted Cruz's dad killed Kennedy, which Trump did, and you're the kind of guy that's going to say Ted Cruz's wife is ugly, which he did, and you're going to say vile, loathsome thing. Barack Obama is not an American citizen because he was born in Kenya. Like Trump is not a polite or moral campaigner. He is happy to say vile, loathsome shit, whether it's true or not, in order to contend with his further goals. The fact that he didn't bring that up in the debate, even though he brought up other people that Clinton claimed raped them, I found very odd. And the fact that
that's what shows. Yeah, that's what shows.
Yeah, there was like a mutually assured destruction, right? Yeah. So yeah, there might be something to that.
That's why you need an independent. Somebody independent who gonna come, but looks like, when he said like a lot of my friends are in it, or, obviously not Biden, nobody released it. It seems that the damage is it's too big, So
yeah, well, I think I can tell you what happened there too. Like I don't. There might be something to the mutually assured destruction thing. I think the more likely thing is if Biden had had a red flag available to him between 20 and 2024, he would have opened it and he would have tried to. Like if there was a smoking gun of Trump diddled a 15-year-old that they could have credibly used to prosecute him, they absolutely would have done it. I think the reason that they didn't do it was twofold. Threefold. One, the evidence isn't there. Otherwise, they would have. But the two remaining reasons they didn't release the Epstein files during that time are, one, there's actually a lot of restrictions on what you can release. That's part of why so much of this is redacted, is you're not going to release the identities of women that are in the files that aren't a bad person, because you don't want to like keep scoring onto them. You have to protect their identity. So there's a certain amount of not releasing files if other people in it don't seem to have done anything illegal. But then the other bit is Epstein mostly hung out with Democrats. Like that was who he hung out with. He mostly hung out with high roller Democratic donors and academics and artistic people, but really like rich Democratic donors and artistic people, or excuse me, and academics like Noam Chomsky. So had they released the files at the time under Biden, they wouldn't have brought down Trump, but they would have brought down Larry Summers, Noam Chomsky, a lot of their donors. They didn't want to do that.
But that's the thing is probably both. There's both in the parties, and it's good even deeper. But I think, there should be something. Anyway, let's quick a couple of other things before I heard if you go and watch Andrew's show, The Political Orphanage, you get free tickets for Melania, the documentary. So
That's true. We worked out a deal with Jeff Bezos. We're in the same Dungeons and Dragons group. I was talking to Jeff about this the other day. I haven't seen, you know what? I haven't seen it. I mean to, because it seems like a thing I should watch just for the, it's the kind of thing I comment on. I've not seen it. I've read pretty bad reviews. I'm not surprised. Have you seen it?
I have not seen it, but I'm not surprised about the bad reviews. You know why? Because I see like a lot of like reviews about the two thumbs up and you go see the movie and it sucks. So it's again, it's political. Some people make it like, oh my God, this is so awesome. And some people will be like, oh my God, this sucks. And I think like there was this campaign is like, hey, don't watch Melania, but go and watch Michelle Obama's documentary instead, so we get the rating more. So it's again, it's anything about a fight, making it a fight and
Yeah.
comparison. Just go, if you want to watch it, watch. If you don't want to watch it, don't want to watch it. But I wouldn't go and watch it myself, but I think it will be interesting story to, from her point of view. Obviously, it's not worth the money that they paid her. There's obviously some kind of like,
70 million.
yeah.
$70 million. Enough to keep the Washington Post running for another couple of years.
Yeah. So obviously there's something behind it. There's a lot of bullshit around in this world, but, we'll see how
I,
this
I
goes.
I might see it just because it seems like it's something I can mine for content. Like a lot of the overtly political movies that come out, I'll go watch. Like I watched Vice when it came out. I thought Vice was a ghost story progressives tell each other inside of an echo chamber, inside of a larger ghost story, inside of an echo chamber. And I don't like Cheney. I think
Yeah.
like war in Iraq, horrible. Debt, awful. Like Cheney, not a good guy, not a good guy in American history. But like by the end of the film, I was like, "Fuck you!" I'm
Yeah.
on Cheney's side because it was so ham-fisted and over the top. There was a great film called The Hunt that came out in 2016. No, maybe it was 2020. It came out in 2020, I think. That's great. I actually highly recommend that to you. The Hunt. It's about a group of MAGA deplorables being hunted for sport by coastal elites, but it's making fun of everybody, and in particular, making fun of the coastal elites. Like
Yeah.
it got like Trump was really mad about it, but he clearly had never seen it because it's not like yay hunt the MAGA people. It's like really making fun of like the NPR people that think they're great and then like gun a guy down. That was a really good political film. I'll probably watch this just so I can do a bonus episode on it. A good friend of mine, Enrique Couto, is a really funny film reviewer, so I might do it. But again, I'm doing it for content. If I didn't do the
Yeah.
show, I wouldn't watch it because I'm guessing it's just a bunch of like very bland, very anodyne, willowy shots of this lady, and they probably don't do anything good because she probably wouldn't consent to actually having any drama in it.
Yeah, and the other thing is like for me, documentary, I like the documentary years later when the truth comes out and when
Yeah.
you're not in power and people can say
Do
whatever.
do the
Especially people,
documentary when Trump dies. That's when I want to hear from Melania.
it's
When Trump's dead
just,
and Melania's like, there's no longer some kind of weird fucking Lovecraftian contract I signed with this guy, and I could just say I really didn't like him from the years 2018 on. I
it's
never stayed in
yeah,
the White
I think
House.
yeah, that and also documentary made by someone else about you maybe will make more sense, or you collaborate with them. I don't know, we'll see. But Andrew, as usual, this is awesome. If people want to follow you or watch a show, what should they do?
Hey, you know what I'll say is check me out on the Political Orphanage. That'd be my main push. The Political Orphanage does a lot of interviews and a lot of in-depth stuff. So it's me being funny, explaining and learning things. If you like hot takes, where it's just me swearing a lot and talking about current events, I do a show called We're Not Wrong with Justin Robert Young and Jen Briney. That's more this format. So if you like hearing funny guy from Oklahoma who pretends to be British talking about the news, I do that every Wednesday on We're Not Wrong.
There you go. Andrew, thank you very much. Live from America podcast. Thank you.